Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 80 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, the incomparable Zach Jones, alongside, I forgot my own name, alongside the Azaze to my Diet Preppies, Lester Jones.
Okay.
Freaking Aziz Ansari.
Azaes. I'm not sure how you would pronounce that.
Azaeus? I don't know.
And, of course, it wouldn't be our show if we didn't have the Ninth Wonder, Chocolate Thunder, looking for a few good peepees for a few good DPs. The tag teaming, double creaming. You take the front, he'll take the back. You'll be dancing all night, sack to sack. The phenomenal AJ Sam.
Zach, you should direct porn, man.
Actually, you know what the sad thing is? I have used that one once before, which means I have to write a new one. Man, episode 80, you know, I've mentioned this on the show before, but when we started this thing, I remember reading a thing that said, like, the average, like, length podcast lasts is 8 episodes before people give it up. So that means we've gone 10 times the length of a normal podcast.
We're too stupid to give up.
You know,
Still waiting for that big payoff.
a lot of people say, you know, quality over quantity, but I say there's something to be said for quantity. All right, you guys know the drill. What have you guys been doing this week? What have you been watching? All that good stuff.
I'll let you go first.
I don't remember.
Spaceballs, I know that much.
Yeah, I just watched Baseball.
I got the breakdown on Archive 81. Like, I didn't watch it completely, but I watched, like, a breakdown of it. I had watched the first, like, episode or two.
And then you're like, I need this more condensed.
Yeah. Looks pretty interesting.
Did the breakdown make you want to actually go back and watch the rest of it
Yeah,
real?
It has a pretty good storyline, and I think there's going to be a season 2, so it's worth watching anyway.
So what is the general premise?
So this guy he's like very talented, I guess, at like restoring tapes. He's very good at it. And somebody comes to him with a tape or with several tapes that they want to restore, but they give him like a test one first. And he restores it, and they're like, okay, yeah, you know, we know about... So he has a past. Like, he has these memories of his family, like, dying in a fire. And he had a breakdown like a few years earlier. So the guy who's having him like go through these tapes, he knows about his past, and he's kind of like you don't know what his deal is yet, but he kind of interrogates him about his past a little bit, prods it, and then it makes you think like he's trying to mess with him with these tapes too. So like, you know, there's cults involved. There's a lot of supernatural-ish things going on. So there's a building that he goes into, or that he doesn't go into, but he sees the tapes, and this girl that he's watching in the tapes that he feels that he has a strong connection to, she does this documentary about this building that was torn, or that used to be a very like almost a castle, kind of like a mansion for this rich family.
Okay.
And it burned down, or something happened to it, to where they had to rebuild on top of it, and they built like a apartment complex. And strange things are happening in that complex. And the documentary that he's watching is about this girl going through that complex and trying to find out information about it.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah, and some weird stuff happens in there that's that it's out of the norm.
You guys watch anything else that you can actually remember?
I tied into like the last season of the Ozarks, and it's kind of, yeah.
Just kind of, yeah.
You've been watching it up until then? You watched all of it?
Yeah, and I think they probably would have gone further, but I think like someone made the decision this was going to be the last season or something, and
What's the premise there? Just like kind of a regular family that ends up in like a drug dealing business?
Well, so he had been laundering money, and then somehow he gets tied into the cartel, and so they move out into the Ozarks to try to funnel a shitload of money. And he's trying to, you know, keep his family alive at the same time. So, all this drama.
Did you like it a lot, like in the beginning?
I liked some of the beginning stuff more. It was never like super strong, but it was decent drama.
Yeah, I never got into it. I was wondering if they were maybe like trying to like make a Breaking Bad of their own.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that was a chunk of the inspiration. You know, Family Man goes bad and survives on his wits or something. So
I heard Brendan Fraser is going to be in Batwoman.
Oh yeah, I think yes, as like Firefly. Is that his name?
I
The
think so.
pyromaniac character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard that a while back and kind of forgot about it. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, he's having a little renaissance, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, he came back like he does Doom Patrol now. Apparently DC likes him. They're using him for Batgirl.
All right, good for him, man.
yeah, I like Doom Patrol. He's been in a couple movies.
Yeah.
Well, he was in one of the seasons of Fargo.
Was he?
I think it might have been the last one.
I don't remember him in Fargo.
Yeah, he was like a mob guy.
Okay. Huh.
So yeah, he's popping up.
But yeah, he definitely these last couple of years he's came back. Like he took a big hiatus, and I remember he had like some story where he said he was like
Me Too or something.
yeah, like some man like sexually harassed him,
Yeah.
and it, like
And it messed him up.
I think he like took a hiatus after that or something.
yeah, like he
Oh, he's like, yeah.
left the business for a while. So, but yeah, I mean, is back in like 20 years ago or so, like the Mummy days, like he was a big like action star,
Yeah, he was a big deal.
Well, I watched a few things this week. Sadly, very sadly, my rewatch of Everybody Loves Raymond has come to a conclusion. I watched all 9 seasons. Man, I gotta say, I'm pretty sure it's my favorite sitcom of all time. I want to rewatch some Seinfeld just because I know I haven't watched Seinfeld in a very long time, and I know I like Seinfeld. But at the same time, like I know Seinfeld has a very rough first several seasons, so like I'm not gonna start Seinfeld from the very beginning. I'll find like a good entry point where it starts getting good, I also rewatched Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, I don't got much to say about it as far, that I haven't said before. Just as like a really, really good movie. Anyone who hasn't watched it, go watch it. And then, of course, as you guys know, I'm contractually obligated to watch all of the CW superhero shows.
You're like the last viewer that's clinging on.
I know. I got to do it. So I finally went back and finished this last season of Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, the season probably ended a little better than it started, but it's still not great. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone who's not like really into this kind of shit. And then I started the last season of Supergirl as well. So at least at the end of that, Rainbow is no. It's fine so far, I guess. It's you know what you're getting by this point. It's 6 seasons in, but that one's finishing up. So even if it gets bad, at least I won't have to watch anymore. But yeah, that's it for my watchings. Oh man, anything else you guys want to talk about before we get into this week's show?
Anybody else die recently that we need to mention?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, the last batch was like Meatloaf and Louis Anderson died on the same day.
Okay.
Yeah, and before that, you had Betty White, and then Norm is a few months back.
Yeah, John Madden. There was some. Oh yeah, Bob Saget.
Yeah, Bob Saget
was a big one. There was some like director too. I mean, he was like an older guy, but he died too.
Yeah, comedians rough go lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Like flies.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, because I don't remember. Norm was like last, maybe like summer.
Yeah, it hasn't been super long.
And then Bob Saget and Louis Anderson, man.
Betty White too, man.
Yeah, Betty
I
White.
mean,
she was funny.
But she was like 99.
She was funny, but she wasn't
got
like a
up there.
stand-up. She was just like a.
Well, she had
was
her
a
own
comedic
like
actress.
she had her
mostly.
own like variety hour at some point. I think like something like that.
Yeah, I think she did. Wasn't she kicked off the air for something?
Yeah, because she had a black man on her show, and
Oh, that's
everybody was
right.
mad about it.
Man, imagine living through that kind of stuff. Jesus.
Hey, but she's a G. She's been on the right side from the whole time.
So she had what do they call it, like a hood pass or
She,
whatever?
she got canceled back in the day.
She got canceled, literally.
All right, well, let's get on with things. So anyone who hasn't watched, we're just gonna take a trip around the table. Everyone's gonna bring a news story or topic of conversation to the table, and we will chat about it. And hopefully, hilarity will ensue. As tradition dictates, AJ, we usually start with you. So what do you got for us?
All right. Embarrassed burglar leaves $200 and flees home with his AR-15. The owners of a New Mexico home were doubly surprised over the weekend to find a burglar in their house with an AR-15 and then to have him apologize, give them money, and leave embarrassed. The man had slept, bathed, dined, and had some beer at the home of on the outskirts of Santa Fe before the owners returned and discovered him. He had an AR-15 scoped rifle, but he didn't threaten them or take any jewelry or other belongings. Instead, he gave the homeowners $200 as reimbursement for the window he broke. The suspect, about 6 feet tall, and in his late 20s, also shared a bit of his story, telling the owners he was running from someone and that his family had been killed in East Texas. He said his car had broken down outside Santa Fe. The homeowners told authorities the man was extremely embarrassed and apologetic about the situation. The suspect left the home with his duffel bag and gun, walking down a ditch. His alleged larcenies totaled $15, the report said. The sheriff's deputies came to the home and searched the ditch but didn't find anyone. That guy's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, you have to assume he's running from the police, but I guess it could be some other issue. But yeah, you figure for $200 you could get a room in some McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably, yeah, this guy sounds like he might be not wound the tightest.
Yeah, he's living off the grid. He's about to do something.
Got his duffel bag and his gun.
Yep. Well, don't say I didn't warn you, folks.
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Might be a Punisher type on or a guy that thinks he's the Punisher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the Punisher story is exactly the same, right? Holy cow. Oh, the Punisher's coming back, by the way.
Oh, is he? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, John Bernthal's going to come back and play the Punisher.
But it's in the universe. It's like a different movie, right?
I think it's a different movie, yeah.
Like he's a character, but not the main. Maybe.
It's probably going to be like the Matt Murdock situation where he's the same actor, but he's not the same character.
Right.
So he's still the Punisher, but like a little different.
Yeah.
See, I'm kind of glad they're bringing him back, but like, what's like a G-rated Punisher to do?
No, they're not going to do G-rated. He said he'll only come back if they do it rated R.
Really?
Yeah.
It surprises me that they're going for that then. Although,
Well, I mean, Deadpool.
That also surprised me. I thought Deadpool they would either convert to PG-13 or just get rid of, and apparently they're bringing him back and letting him be R-rated, which really does surprise me. Because like Deadpool, you could like, you know, since he's a fourth wall breaker, like you could make it so he like tries to cuss and it like bleeps it out, and then he's like, "What the bleep was that?" You know, kind of make fun of it in that way. But yeah, I hadn't heard the Punisher news. They just broke that recently then?
Yeah, very recently. I think I saw that like yesterday or something.
Now, was that from like a credible source or just like a weird one?
It was from a source that I watch all the time. I feel like he's credible. I think it was Rob Jefferson from Comics Explained. I'll double check on that.
Okay. I mean, that would be good news. I kind of thought they maybe would never go back. Because right now, like, I guess, like, there's, like, some right-wing groups who have, like, co-opted his symbol.
Yeah.
And so, like, even in the comics, I haven't read it yet, but apparently, like, they changed his symbol, and now he's, like, with the hand, and he's, like, fighting with swords rather than guns. And I'm like, so you just made him, like, not the Punisher, basically.
I mean, I think what they could do is, like...
Well, isn't the hand like a criminal group?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a ninja group.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he works for them in the new ones?
Like I said, I haven't read it yet, but I think so. Like, I think he's somehow, like, maybe taken them over or aligned with them.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, but something like that.
So when the whole, like, I think January 6th thing happened. I think Bernthal spoke on that, and he was like, "That's not what the Punisher would do. You know, like that's not what really stands for." So I think like maybe they'll try to like differentiate him from that stuff, but not probably to the degree that the comics have done.
See, I think it would actually be more interesting if they just embraced it head on and like in the comics or whatever, maybe even in a movie or whatever, actually have a right-wing group like co-opt a symbol.
Yeah.
And then have him like butt up against them or something, you know.
That's what I think.
Or at least come to terms with like, ooh, maybe I am putting out a message that I don't want to or something, or, you know.
Yeah.
That would be more interesting than just like changing him to like a knife sword guy or whatever, you know.
Yeah, you've already got plenty of those.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I hope they do bring him over because he's a good actor too, and he's really good in that role. So
I loved the crossover with him and Daredevil.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah,
both good actors.
Yeah, that was definitely. I think that was season 2 of Daredevil. Those like first few episodes or whatever, and like that was definitely the highlight of that season was those two. Yeah. All right, are we ready for Manifesto Round 1?
All right, every once in a while a headline comes along that's too good to be true, and even though I really want it to be true, it is in fact fake news. So I've got a couple of these for today. Number 1, FBI raided NSA employee's home, reveals over 16 million dick pics. Because we all secretly kind of think this is what's going on at the NSA. They just have like these memory row banks of just like dick pics.
Yeah.
Like we're going to need to put something on this guy someday.
They're going to start identifying us by dicks in the future.
Slap your dick on the scanner.
You know, I don't know if it was Edward Snowden or like another whistleblower that talked about, you know, just like the sheer amount of data the NSA collects.
Yeah.
But he's like they actually collect so much that doesn't help them because it basically makes it like when you do want to find a relevant piece of information, it's like a needle in an ever-increasing haystack, you know.
There's that part. You really have to get your algorithms to look through it. And even like, you know, when you're getting ad suggestions or something, that's all computerized. Nobody's actually like looking at the stuff. They're just, you know, the computer goes through looking for certain words, certain things, and it's just like, here you go.
Yeah.
But it's more than any like human body could actually dig through.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, you hear they set up like those data farms that just have like it was a ridiculous amount of memory.
Yeah.
Zettabytes.
Yeah, things that you can't even really think about, you know.
All right, are you ready for headline number 2? Now this, if you're gonna write a fake headline as clickbait, you need to take lessons from this guy. So buckle up. Elderly couple accidentally burns house down during sex game involving World War II flamethrower.
Man, like
that's pretty good.
It's too good to not like check that one out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who are these guys that are like
just putting these stories?
Putting these together? Like
I mean, I guess it pays more than writing short stories. You just write some bullshit article and put some crazy headline on there that people just are gonna.
I mean, it is clickbait, and like, I don't have time to like vet all the stories that I find on here, so I'm wondering like how many I've read that turn out to be false.
Well, generally when I see like a headline posted on Twitter, I'm like, I'll screenshot it and I'll be like, yeah, I better check this one because, and most of those ones are bullshit.
Where do you check them? Like on Snopes or something?
Basically, I just type the headline back into Google search, and Snopes generally pops up, and it's like a fact or one of the fact checkers, and it'll be like, "This is true" or "This is false." So I did one other one that's actually we'll hit later that was true, but 1 out of 3. You know?
I have to do that with TikTok too. TikTok, there's always some idiot who like shows like just the head of the article. And, you know, they don't show, like, what paper it's from or any source or anything like that. And they're like, ha, 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 look at that. And then I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh, it's so fake. Why?
Yeah, why did I do this to myself?
Yeah.
All right, anything more on that one?
Nope.
This article's a little bit long, but I think it has some entertaining stuff in it. 6 recent stories of people who lost their shit for ridiculous reasons. Number 1. Man beats another man with a skillet for declining fried potatoes. Be careful if you turn down someone's lunch offer. They might not take it well, like this 27-year-old man from Pennsylvania. According to Pennsylvania State Police, the man was frying potatoes on January 27th. He then offered the spuds to another 32-year-old man. When the other man said no thank you, the cook became suddenly enraged, reports KBTX. He threw the hot potatoes along with the frying oil into the victim's face.
Jeez.
Yeah. Then he proceeded to hammer the skillet down on his head so hard that the handle snapped off. The victim was taken to a hospital with burns and serious injury. The cook has been arrested and faces multiple charges, including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He must have put a lot of effort into those potatoes. I mean, that's a guy, like, just was ready to snap at a moment's notice, man.
Well, go eat Jim's panther.
Like, were those poisoned potatoes? Like, was that why he was upset?
Well,
I'm going to kill you one way or another.
Oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, that would be funny. He's like trying to poison him. Yeah. He's like, just take a bite. Try it. All right. Force me to do this the hard way. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Number 2, Japanese train driver sues employer over 49 cents. A worker should get the paycheck that's due to them, but sometimes you have to wonder if fighting an insignificant sum is worth it. In June of 2020, Japanese train operator JR West docked 56 yen, about 49 cents, out of the train driver's paycheck. The reason was a work mix-up that delayed train operations by 1 minute. Train schedules are very strict in Japan, but that still seems a bit unreasonable. Still, most people would have probably muttered something unprintable about the employer and moved on with their lives. But not this man. In November 2021, he sued the company seeking 2.2 million yen, or nearly $19,500 in damages for mental anguish. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, but then you convert it and it's like, oh, okay. We couldn't find out what the end result of the court case was, but whatever it was, we're guessing it cost the driver more than 49 cents. Number 3. Man pulled out an AK-47 for having to wait 10 minutes for pizza. On November 19th, 2021, Charles Douglas Doty, Jr. of Knoxville, Tennessee, walked into a Little Caesars restaurant. The 63-year-old approached the counter and ordered a pepperoni pizza. You can't just pull a pizza out of thin air, but Doty apparently didn't know this because he snapped when he was told he'd have to wait 10 minutes for his meal. Doty initially demanded an order of free breadsticks for having to wait. He then left the store, only to return a moment later armed with an AK-47 assault rifle. He pointed at me saying, "Where's my damn pizza? I want my pizza." Although I think it said damn, it's D***, so maybe dick pizza? No. Kimberly Merrill, who worked at the store at the time, told WVLT. Doty Doty also prevented another employee from leaving his shift, eventually holding him hostage. Luckily, the situation diffused when another customer who had received a pepperoni pizza handed her order to Doty. Doty was later arrested and charged with 4 counts of aggravated assault and 1 count of especially aggravated kidnapping. I mean, I could understand if it was good pizza, but Little Caesars?
Yeah.
Man, sometimes people don't get in any trouble for like acting crazy with guns, and then sometimes they get in a whole bunch of trouble.
I mean, that guy should have. That's crazy. Number 4, woman stabs male cousin over a borrowed sex toy.
Yeah. I brought back your dildo.
That's about what this story is. Crystal Denham, 33, had a bizarre encounter with her cousin at her home in Corbin, Kentucky. Man, another Kentuckian. They're not making Kentucky look good. Namely, she stabbed him due to a dispute over a sex toy. According to the police, Denham's cousin, Michael Barton, had showed up at her house on October 28th.
Full name.
The guy's like, no, not the full name. Apparently, he'd come to get back a sex toy Denham had borrowed from him. So this is a guy loaned his dildo to his female cousin, and now he wants it back.
Oh, where does she think he's been putting it?
We'll have to assume that Denham didn't want to give the toy back because the cousins got into an argument. At some point, Denham grabbed a knife from her kitchen. When she told Barton to get out of her house, He grabbed Denham by her elbow. She then used the knife to stab him, causing 3 minor cuts. When the cops arrived to arrest Denham, they reposted that she formed a fist with each of her hands, bladed her body in a fighting stance, swelled her chest out, and began approaching. The threatening gesture didn't work, though. She's been charged with felony assault and multiple misdemeanors for resisting arrest. I mean, there's so much in this story that's wrong. I mean, first of all, like she can't buy her own dildo.
Yeah.
Well, what's okay? Well, here's the disconnect. Also, is like you have to be pretty close with someone to share your dildo, but then you're gonna go stab them. I'm vaguely imagining, like, you know, those like cane swords, there's just like a dildo with a knife in.
I'm imagining 2 hillbillies fighting over a black dildo.
I mean, there's so much in this that's preposterous. Like the fact that 2 cousins would share a dildo to begin with. The fact that they're male and female brings an extra element to it. And the fact that he went to get it back. Like, okay, you've had it long enough. I want my dildo back.
Right. That's like when a kid, like, if someone licks your ice cream, they're like, it's mine now. Like, if someone sticks, you know, your dildo up their ass, you know, that's their dildo now.
You would think so. That's the other thing I wonder is, has this dildo been cleaned in between
You gotta
using? I mean,
that has to be the rationale. It's like, oh, you can just wipe it down. No problem.
and also, like, even if I went to go get my dildo back, if the person pulled a knife on me, I'd be like, you know what, you can have it.
This thing's got to be transforming lives. This is like a magic dildo.
It must have sentimental value for both of them.
It's like made out of gold.
That was our grandmother's dildo.
It was willed to me. Number 5, man shot his father over an incorrect wings order. Alika Unga Saliafu from Utah. That does not sound like a Utah name.
Yeah, no.
Was facing a charge of attempted murder in October of 2021. He had tried to shoot his father because he got his chicken wings order wrong. According to the arresting officer, Suliafu's father returned home after picking up an order of chicken wings for his son. But Suliafu, upon noticing that his wings weren't the kind he liked, started an argument with his dad. This must have gotten heated because during the argument, Suliafu retrieved a handgun from another room. Although his father begged him not to shoot, Suliafu pulled the trigger. Luckily, the shot missed and the pulled smashed. This is written poorly. Anyway, smashed through the wall into the neighboring apartment before hitting their dishwasher. Suliafu's father tackled him and tried to wrangle the gun out of his hands. During the tussle, the gun discharged twice more, but both bullets harmlessly hit the ceiling. The father finally ejected the magazines from Suliafu's gun, and his son fled the apartment until the cops picked him up. I mean, that definitely sounds like mental illness.
Big time.
Yeah, definitely something going on there.
Or drugs, maybe.
I'm surprised anybody was able to be around him that long. How old is this guy?
It does not tell in this article.
Man.
But yeah, that's crazy. And then finally, number 6, of course, we needed a story from Florida. Florida man settles a parking dispute with a flamethrower. A parking dispute between 2 Florida neighbors got heated last November, literally. Andre Adams, 57, fired a commercial flamethrower at a car with 3 teenagers in it. According to his neighbor, Ashley Gainey, Adams regularly used the flamethrower to drive away guests coming to her home. The man later told the police that he'd resorted to fire and flames because of a long-running feud with Gainey over parking. We wouldn't go into details, but he said Gainey and her kids were the worst thing that could ever happen to a neighborhood. I wonder if this is a racial thing, but it doesn't say.
It does sound like...
Suffice to say, they didn't get along. On November 30th, Gainey's daughter and 2 of her friends were sitting in a car that Abrams clearly thought was incorrectly parked. He approached before starting to spray the flamethrower at the car. According to Gainey's daughter, the flame went within 5 feet of the car, and the teens escaped through a passenger side door. Luckily, no one was hurt, though Abrams got slapped with a felony aggravated assault charge. I mean, again, like, the fact that he has a flamethrower... And it sounded like it says he's used it before. I mean, wouldn't the
Just
cops have
trying to
got called at that point, you would have thought?
Yeah, and I mean, if someone's like parking in a driveway, just get them towed. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus. This whole article has just sounded like people with mental illness.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, especially that guy who flipped out over wings, man. Whew.
Yeah. My favorite one definitely, though, was the dildo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy. All right, AJ, back to you. Story number 2.
All right. Irish police investigate claim that a dead man was taken to the post office. Police in Ireland are investigating reports that the body of a dead man was brought into the post office in an attempt to collect his pension. The Irish Times said a man who appeared to be in his 60s was dragged into the post office.
Weekend at
Bernie style. Was dragged into the post office in the town of Carlow on Friday, propped up by 2 younger men. When questioned by staff, the 2 fled, leaving behind the older man who was found to be dead. Ireland's national police force, the Garda Síochána, would not discuss details of the case, but said officers were investigating circumstances surrounding the unexplained death of an elderly male in the Carlow area. The force said that an autopsy would be conducted to determine the death of the man, the cause of the death. According to the Irish Times, one of the younger men had inquired about collecting someone's pension and was told that the recipient had to be present. With the help of a companion, he allegedly returned with the dead man's body, the newspaper reported. Carlow Mayor Ken Murnane said the allegations had left the town people in shock. It's just mind-boggling that anyone could happen to do something like that. It beggars belief. It's like a Hitchcock movie. It's not like a Hitchcock. It's like exactly like Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know why he picked a Hitchcock movie.
That's true.
I mean, I think there's a lot of these cases around.
Of people weekending at Bernie's?
Yeah.
Not Weekend at Bernie's, but like where like someone will die, and instead of like, you know, even like saying they're dead or something, they'll go bury them in the lawn and keep collecting their benefits.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, that
But
kind of shit.
This is next level. This is getting the dead body, dressing it up.
Yeah, that's a...
That is, I mean, we laugh at Weekend at Bernie's, but that is morbid. That is weird, you know, like to drag a dead body around.
Like I feel like these guys have some entrepreneurial potential. Because they're out there hustling, right?
Yeah.
They have schemes. They have plans.
They're the guys you'll see in a YouTube video 20 years later. Like, there's only 24
Do you want to make
hours
money?
in a day.
Get my plan for turning dead bodies into cash. Only
Buy my book.
$25.94. Get my e-sign.
Hey, you know how like in certain like movies and TV shows, they'll do that thing where like someone leaves a will, but they're like, "Oh, you get all my stuff, but you have to accomplish like such and such a like weird thing or whatever." Like, first of all, is that a real thing? That
No,
people
you can't do that.
Ah, damn. I was gonna say like, I want to be like, I'll leave you all my stuff, but you have to weekend at Bernie's.
Forever. Oh my gosh.
You could probably set something up though. Like if you were like a rich old guy, you'd be like, "I'll leave $1 million to somebody who does X," and then just like watch the world burn from beyond the grave.
I mean, it would be, if you could do that, you'd definitely think about doing that.
Going out in style.
Yeah, if I could do that, I'd try to get rich just so I could try to leave somebody something.
Or what if you just like, I'll leave all my stuff to the last one of you that's alive.
That's kind of how royalty worked back in the day. I think there was like one, I think it was like Turkish prince. I think 90, like he killed so many of his siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get them all.
Yep.
Well, are we ready to get Manifesto Round 2?
All right. This is the one that actually fact checked out.
Okay.
Woman sets her husband on fire for raping her 7-year-old daughter.
That's a true story.
So this one's a true one, yeah.
Oh.
And it's actually, I guess it was like a little older. It's like 2014.
Oh.
But allegedly said that shooting was too good for him.
So was he like a stepfather or
It just says father,
Dang.
husband.
I've heard that burning to death is the most painful way you can die.
It's
Yeah.
got to be an awful way to die.
Oh.
Because, yeah, you're just like screaming. So, like you're feeling that.
When Alexander invaded India, like it was India-Pakistan region, a lot of the Rajput people, they're like a certain class, they would burn themselves, their kids, and all their belongings and their
Jeez.
animals because they were like, it's better than what happens after war.
Ugh.
Which I don't know if that's the case, but man, that's some dedication.
Yeah, that's a lot. Man, it's crazy when you see like the monks that do the self-immolation
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
just sit there like, oh, jeez.
I mean, that if they can sit through that, then I believe that they have transcended the physical realm. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I don't even know how you build that kind of like endurance.
I mean, we've talked about those iron crotch monks that just get hit in the nads all day and they're fine.
Oh.
Yeah, but you can't practice being on fire. It's like a one-time thing.
That is true.
A lot of them practice cold, I know, but yeah, you can't be on fire too many times.
They just go into really hot saunas. They go to our grandma's house where she keeps it like fucking 95 degrees.
I trade in the old folks' home.
They're like, I'm ready now. I won't even feel it. All right. This is a profession I'd never heard of. The strange job of Spanish ham sniffers. A nice ham is a mainstay at Christmas tables all around the globe. Do you guys actually like ham? I've never really.
I'll eat some, but
If it's like glazed with honey or something, then maybe.
yeah, it depends. I'll eat it, but it's not top of my list.
Yeah. Some of the finest hams in the world come from the region of Andalusia in Spain. The company Cinco Hotas has been producing premium Iberian ham since 1879. They like doing things the way they were done 150 years ago. They smoke chorizo on open fires and age their hams in cellars whose climate is controlled by opening or closing windows. To ensure the quality of the ham, Cinco Hotas, or Jotas, I don't know, also relies on old-fashioned methods. The company employs a squad of ham sniffers, or calidors. These people's job is exactly what you'd imagine. They smell the hams to determine when they've reached optimum condition for sale. You might be thinking this is an easy job, just to sniff a few hams and bring home the paycheck. But you couldn't be more wrong. The calidors push their sense of smell to the human limit with all the stress that entails. The lead sniffer at Cinco Hotas is Manuel Vega Dominguez. The 58-year-old has been working as a calidor since 1998, and he served the ham producer since 1989. Throughout most of the year, he's the only ham sniffer on the premises. During regular seasons, Dominguez smells about 200 hams a day. But Iberian hams are high in demand during Christmas, and one man couldn't possibly do the job alone in the holiday season. That's why Cinco Hotas hires 5 additional sniffers around holidays, bringing the team to 6 people. However, that doesn't mean Dominguez gets to maintain his usual routine. Over the holiday season, he has to sniff 800 hams a day. One whiff isn't enough, though. Each ham has to be smelled 4 times to ensure the highest possible quality, bringing the total number of sniffs Dominguez does every day to 3,200. That isn't easy. Dominguez said that he has to take a 10-minute break every 2 hours to maintain his productivity. According to the man, he and the rest of his team are pushing themselves to the limits. He's not sure if they could sniff many more hams than 800 per day. Quote, I will find a way to sniff 801, perhaps 802 is possible, Dominguez told the Wall Street Journal. But what exactly are calidors smelling for? According to Dominguez, the pigs at Cinco Jotas are fed on acorns, so the meat should have a certain aroma. The ham sniffers will stick a sharp implement into the ham and then smell it. A proper Iberian ham should smell slightly sweet with woody and nutty notes from the acorns. If the aroma is too strong, that means the ham is drying up too much. And if it smells rotten, well, that's not good either. The ham sniffers may reject the ham for other off notes as well. Sometimes they detect notes of coffee, licorice, or toffee, none of which are fit for a premium Iberian ham. Sometimes the sniffer's extremely delicate sense of smell comes in handy elsewhere as well. Dominguez notes that he once detected a gas leak at the factory. The ham sniffers are also supposed to look out for insect infestation, but Dominguez says there's not much need for that. Cinco Jotas said the last bug on their hams was spotted in 1985. Needless to say, the calidors' noses are extremely important to them. As such, they go to extreme lengths to protect their sniffers. Dominguez said his worst fear is contracting the coronavirus. One of the best-known symptoms of the virus is losing your sense of smell, which would probably end his entire career. To boost his immune system, Dominguez eats 6 oranges every day. He also finishes every day with a hot mug of hand-picked pennyroyal tea to clear his sinuses. Occasionally, the most unexpected things can make a ham sniffer's job difficult. Dominguez recalled that he accidentally confused his nose recently since he switched to an anti-balding shampoo. He's even had to ask his wife to never change her perfume. We can only hope she complies. The memory of perfect ham is cooked into my brain, said Dominguez. If you doubt yourself, you cannot do this work. If you doubt one ham, you have to doubt all of them.
I've sniffed many hams in my day, but I don't know if I'd call myself a professional.
It just seems like such a random, weird job.
Yeah.
Ham
I
sniffer.
think you gotta know somebody. somebody is like, yeah, I have a weird job you can do. Sure, why not? Like,
I mean, there are people with just like weird heightened senses of smell though that get hired by like perfume companies and like wine companies.
Yeah.
I feel like my sister could do that. She
does smell a lot.
has a sense of smell.
She does complain about his farts a lot.
Yeah. Everybody's farts.
Man, especially when she was pregnant, she could smell shit like ages away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they
she's
say
got that.
in general, like women have a better sense of smell. But yeah, I know that Jake Tapper guy from the news, like he apparently has I saw him on like a late night talk show and like Colbert or something, and he's one of those people that has like a really good sense of smell.
Yeah, that seems like a curse because like
It does seem like it could be bad.
I think I'd like it.
Really, when people fart?
I'm not saying that there's not any bad times on the roller coaster, but like if you could just be like,
you say that because you live now. Imagine if you lived at any other point in history.
That's true. People were pretty dirty back in the day.
Yeah, you'd be smelling shit everywhere.
Although like smelling is linked to taste, so I wonder if those people like can taste things better.
yeah, potentially.
I wonder if that guy like eats ham like on his off time, or if he's just like, oh, I'm so sick of ham.
No, that's
Probably
like,
can't even look at him.
Probably.
that's like working at a burger joint. You don't want to eat the fries or anything.
Yeah.
After a while.
Yeah.
After you've eaten pizza every day for like a few months, you're like, yeah, I'm good.
All right, AJ, I believe it's your turn again.
You think on Christmas they gave him like a ham?
That would be
You
funny.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, that one you just smelled. Take that one.
But get him like a really low quality one.
So you
He's
know,
like, this one's bad.
so you know, if you buy like a good quality ham, some guy's been like, been like all up in there.
That's true.
Pretty much went down on it. All right. A teenager has asked Elon Musk for $50,000 after the billionaire requested that the youngster delete a Twitter bot which tracks his private jet. Jack Sweeney, 19, turned down an initial offer of $5,000 to shut down the Elon Jet account, saying the payment wouldn't replace the satisfaction he received from running it. The SpaceX and Tesla chief described the tracker, which uses publicly available air traffic information, as a potential threat to his safety.
How like this kid has to be in a family with some fucking money.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, to turn that down.
Like
And
if I
plus,
had a
like,
teenage kid and they turned down $50K, I'd be like, "Come here, son."
Well, no, he turned down $5,000 so far. He's asking for $50,000.
Oh, he's asking for 50.
but I mean, like, what would make him think to even do this?
I don't know, just a weird side
Just he
project.
could, you know. He's getting a kick out of it. The University of Florida student described himself to Business Insider as a fan of Mr. Musk and said he had created the bot as it would reveal what business is going on and where he is going. Mr. Sweeney has launched similar accounts tracking the planes of Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. The accounts slate that they track the aircraft, not who may or may not be on board. The student also has a part-time job with a company called Uber Jets, which tracks chartered flights and allows its customers to identify cheap seats. Oh, so he kind of has a background in this.
I see, yeah.
Mr. Sweeney shared a direct message from Mr. Musk in which the tycoon said, "Can you take this down? It's a security risk. I don't love the idea of being shot by a nutcase," he adds. Eventually, Mr. Musk said, "How about $5,000 for this account and generally helping make it harder for crazy people to track me?" At this point, the teenager tried to upsell. "Any chance to up that to $50K? It would be great support in college and would possibly allow me to get a car, maybe even a Model 3. The billionaire eventually declined, explaining it didn't feel right to pay to shut down the account, but Mr. Sweeney said the advice he had shared about protecting the jet's identifying number appeared to have been adopted. The teenager said he had made the correspondence public to try and reopen negotiations with Mr. Musk, whether for an increase of initial monetary offer or an internship. I mean, hey, this kid's, he's famous. You know, he got his name out there, and he might get a job. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, well, apparently he already has a job.
Yeah, he already has one.
But yeah, I mean, making the news can't hurt. Put it on, slap it on the resume.
Yeah. Piss off a billionaire. Maybe Bezos likes that. Who knows? Well, he went after Bezos too, though.
Maybe
and Gates.
Yeah, maybe Tesla gives him a job if he takes it down.
That's what he's shooting for, an internship.
All right, Manifesto.
All right, a science one. MIT engineers create the impossible new material that is stronger than steel and as light as plastic. So apparently, plastic's made out of polymers, and they usually can only make it in strings. But somehow they figured out how they can make sheets of it. So potentially you could see like a large scale, super strong plastic materials coming down the pipe.
I mean, there's got to be a downside to that too, though, right? Like they could be really light. The wind could like blow them away or something.
I mean... Nah, I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's still some parameters you got to watch for, but...
Yeah, I'm just trying to, so this is plastic, but it's like as strong as steel, basically.
Right, and it basically has to do with like the chemical structure, because before they could only do the string structures, and now they can do like sheets of it, so they could figure they can stack sheets or build up layers or something.
Yeah, I mean... What do you think the best application of this would be? Like, you wouldn't think they'd make houses out of it, would you? Like, I don't know how.
No, plastic's that's probably cheaper than steel, right?
It is. I mean, would this stuff be heavy like steel?
It's supposed to be lighter. It says light as plastic, but
I mean, I would think you would want a certain amount of heft in a structure, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how much a difference it would make.
I just would think maybe, natural disasters could be heightened if it was a very light building.
I mean, you have less momentum at the same speed, I guess.
I can see it being done on cars, like for safety features and stuff.
Yeah, probably a lot of things. Phone screen, who knows? I don't know. But we'll see. Future's always coming.
Interesting.
All right, was that it on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Street haunted for months by creepy nursery rhyme finally solves the mystery. On the surface, nursery rhymes seem innocent enough. For many of us, they bring on a wave of childhood nostalgia, such as memories of playing in the schoolyard or your mom softly singing to sleep at night. Because of this, most people have never taken the time to actually listen to the lyrics in their favorite nursery rhymes. Well, we hate to break it to you, but nursery rhymes are creepy as fuck. From Rockabye Baby, which is about a baby dying in a tragic accident, to Ring Around the Rosie about the plague. These seemingly sweet melodies disguise twisted tales of murder, sex, and general gloom and doom. But do you know what makes nursery rhymes even more disturbing? When they're sang on repeat by creepy-ass ghost children. And that's exactly what the residents of a town in the UK have had to contend with lately. Alice Randall from Ipswich, UK, told her local paper that the nursery rhyme, "It's Raining, It's Pouring," had woken her and several of her neighbors up multiple times in the past few months. Sometimes the rhymes would start at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., play once or twice, then stop. Other times it would play on a loop for hours. She said the tune was sang in a children's voice, but it was tinny and alarming. Listen. Oh, okay. The mom of two told The Independent, "It's very haunting. People have said it's like something out of Freddy Krueger." At first she wondered if the song was all in her head until she realized her neighbors had heard it also. After putting up with eerie tunes since September last year, Alice finally called the local council begging for help. "I started to ask myself why I was living with this when I could do something about it," she told the Ipswich Star. The last couple of months I've been quite committed to finding out what it was. The council sent a rapid response team to Alice's area several times, but the tune always stopped before they arrived. Until one time they finally caught it. "We did hear the nursery rhyme playing, and it sounded very eerie at that time of night," a spokesperson for Ipswich Borough Council said. Their search led them to a warehouse on Industrial Estate just a few hundred yards from Alice's home. Once they entered the building, they found the song playing on the loudspeaker. It turns out the music was a security device designed to spook trespassers, and its motion detectors were being triggered by spiders. When they examined the motion sensors, they were spiders and webs across it, so that's how they know, Alice explained. A spokesperson for the site said the sound is only supposed to act as a deterrent for opportunistic thieves that come onto our property and is designed only to be heard by people on our private land. We are now aware of the problem. The motion sensors were being triggered by spiders crawling across the lenses of our cameras, and it looks like we've had it turned up too loudly. We've spoken to the resident who brought it to our attention and adjusted it so it should not happen again. Alice is just pleased to know that her street isn't haunted. It's a massive relief, and I'm looking forward to getting some actual sleep from now on, she said. So if anyone tells you spiders are not scary, just show them this article.
That's a weird way to like scare people off.
That's what I was thinking. Like, who comes up with that?
Creepy as shit, though.
Yeah, it would be creepy.
And it's like, what song should we have it play? Oh yeah, like creepy nursery rhyme sung by children.
The thing is that it's like apparently they weren't even notified about it. It just like operates by itself. It's like, oh, maybe it'd be good to get some feedback when this thing goes off.
It'd be funnier if it was like, are you guys all hearing "I like big butts" in your sleep, or is it just
me? Weird Al Yankovic's Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah.
The kid's trying to smoke pot. He's like, oh, not Neil Diamond.
Pack up the babies and grab the old ladies. Man, Dad likes him.
I think that was like the only CD in his car, like at one point.
I think it was, and he listened to it a lot.
Just listened to it every day driving to work. That's a disturbing like thought. That's why he plowed under so many deer.
Oh my god!
Sweet Caroline.
Did Neil Diamond pull his music from Spotify recently?
That's Neil Young.
Neil
Young. Okay.
Apparently, like a lot of other like accounts are following suit.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Just protesting Joe Rogan, which is so retarded. But I started thinking maybe if you're like a shitty account, like maybe they would actually get you more listeners.
Yeah, if you just like take your shit off of there and tell people that you did.
Yeah. You're like, oh, good for you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy obviously has some opinions, but he's an interviewer. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and what was it over? Was it over coronavirus stuff or what?
Yeah, misinformation about corona. And then there was like some weird link where like Pfizer owns a company that owns the rights to his songs or something. It was some weird connection.
The thing is, so like, I think Joe Rogan is like, exclusive to Spotify or whatever.
Well, they paid him. Didn't they pay him like $100 million or something?
It was a lot of money, yeah.
Like, and be like, well, sorry to see you go, guys.
But the thing I was getting at is like, okay, so Neil Young left him. Well, he's probably still available on like, iTunes and all these other places. They have a million podcasts with people that say even more
Dumber
inflammatory
shit,
things than Joe Rogan. Maybe they're not as popular as Joe Rogan, but it's like you're still gonna have your music, on a service that's filled to the brim with people you don't agree with. So it seems like a silly stance to take.
Yeah, it's weird. So, yeah.
It's all politics, man. Everything's political, though.
Seems that way. We still got some time left. You got any more stories?
How much time do we have left?
Oh, about 5 minutes is all.
You got any short story?
This is kind of a bullshit one. A Texas parent demanded Michelle Obama biography be pulled from the schools because they said it would make white girls feel ashamed. I was like, we've come full circle.
Wait, what state of Texas? I know Florida's made it like DeSantis is trying to make it so that you can't talk about history that makes white people feel guilty or bad about history.
Actually, speaking of books, did you hear, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in the South, maybe Tennessee, there was a school board that pulled that graphic novel Mouse about the Holocaust.
Yeah, I do remember that story, yeah.
I mean, I assume shit like this happens all the time, but I mean, it's so silly,
Yeah, that's, it's ridiculous. I mean, you hear that and you're like, oh, this is like one of these towns where everybody's like a skinhead or something.
Yeah.
Man, I was trying to think, because, I didn't get into comics until college. Do you know, I mean, I certainly never had an English class that threw a graphic novel our way to read. Apparently some schools do. But, do you know if even our, high school, library had graphic novels?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
No, I'm pretty sure they didn't.
I know my school didn't.
I was
I'd
like
look
a
for
library
that
nerd.
stuff.
But, yeah.
I mean, they should, but
I'm sure I would have noticed, yeah.
They do now?
Apparently a lot of them do, yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Well, I know some of the ones I have are like my kids' elementary school has. But, it's kids, so they already have picture books and stuff. So.
I've heard stories, too, of, actual, English classes, sometimes the teacher will, have the kids actually, read a graphic novel, which that would have been great in high school, but...
No, ours were always
Yeah, boring shit.
Like a 30-year-old print of Ethan Frome, and they're like, careful not to bend it. Gotta use these again next year.
I read a book about a kid learning to farm.
Sounds about right.
Do you guys want to hear this story before we go out? It's kind of a creepy one.
Sure.
Deadly parasite that burrows into feet infects 16 near Austin. As if the COVID-19 pandemic wasn't enough cause for concern, another deadly infection was discovered in a small unincorporated Texas city this year. Although this time the infection was from a parasite that burrows in bare feet, according to the report from The Guardian, 16 people got the parasite from unsanitary surroundings in the town of Rancho Vista, which consists of about 400 homes. The parasite can survive for decades without being detected. It burrows through bare feet, enters a human's bloodstream, the lungs, and then heads for the windpipe, where it is then coughed up and swallowed.
Ugh.
The parasite can turn deadly at certain moments, which is such as if the person who is infected is taking steroids. Those who came up positive for the parasite weren't aware until they provided blood and stool samples for the academic study. Researchers said they found a common connection to the infections: terrible sanitary system failures. The Guardian reports that those who were positive informed their doctors of their infections and were treated with a single dose of antiparasitic drug ivermectin. As for the sanitary system failures and to prevent future infections, the recommended solution was for the city to be connected to a municipal sewer system to repair the existing septic tanks. And I don't know, I guess that's it. But there's more to the story somewhere else. I didn't get it.
Isn't ivermectin the same, controversial,
the
COVID drug?
Yeah.
I got a bad case of ringworm. Give me that. Yeah, whatever it's called.
Man, this makes me think of ticks. Man, ticks are creepy. Just the fact that you can get one burrow all the way in and then maybe give you Lyme disease. And
The Lyme disease is a scary part.
yeah, that's scary.
That'll fuck your shit up for a while.
But this is worse. Like, it can kill you, and it burrows through your feet. Like, a tick, you kind of got to, like, look for, but this thing, like, is just in the mud.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh, you were talking about the lungs. I recently saw this picture, like, somebody got, like, blood, like, clotted in their lungs, and they, like, coughed so hard, like, it came out, but you could actually see, like, the fractal nature, like, it was like a chunk.
Oh my
Like, you could
God.
see, like, how it branched and, like, hardened. I was like, this is awful.
Wait, a chunk of their lung?
It was like blood that
They had blood
coagulated.
clot in their lung, so you imagine going down, like, all those little veins and shit, and they just coughed, like, a big chunk of this shit up.
They coughed out the blood clot?
Yeah, the whole blood clot, and you could see all the freaking tree structure and shit.
Wow.
Ugh. As someone who just had blood clots in their lung, that does not sound pleasant.
I mean, I can't imagine being that huge. It was disgusting. On that note,
Well, yeah, we're over the hour. You guys got anything else you want to talk about before we call it a show?
I was looking up interesting facts. Dentistry started in 7000 BC.
7,000 BC. I bet it was really quality dentistry as well.
And Roman surgeons had to practice surgery with screaming involved. So they would actually practice the screaming.
yeah, I guess you probably do need a little bit of
Yeah,
He's
so you
like-
don't get jarred by it.
He's like, my nag of a wife has been preparing me forever.
And you see her, she's just screaming at the top of her lungs.
this kid's a natural.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much for listening and watching. If you joined us this far, please tell a friend, tell a family. Just push us on everybody. Don't think of their feelings. Just try to, like,
Pimp
force
us out.
Yeah, pimp us out. Anyway, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe both to the YouTube feed and your YouTube service of choice with the audio version of the podcast. Give us thumbs up, comments. We might even read them on the show. What else? 5-star reviews if you're feeling really nice. And probably the easiest thing you can do is go ahead and follow us on Twitter, guys. Where can people find you on Twitter?
I am at a name for this too, and that's number 2.
At unsolicited SUG.
And you can, of course, find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. And that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Have a good one.